Yeah, too much electronics, the headset, the speaker, I know, there is a lot of electronics. So, thank you, Ivan, thank you everyone for inviting. I wanted to talk a bit about what we are mostly doing is helping local companies, Slovak companies and other Central and Eastern European companies to become what we call global challengers. And this means, companies that are growing fast and making a difference in the global IT space, and creating a lot of jobs and a lot of wealth in the country. So we believe that small and medium-sized enterprises in the technology field that are growing fast are changing a lot of things to positive, and that's why we are investing in this area. Let me see how this works. Good. So, how to build Slovakian global challengers. Just a few words about us first, so you know the situation. So we are a venture capital or private equity fund, or have several funds. Our latest fund is now started this summer with 103 million euros. I know that a lot of Slovak companies and a lot of international companies and others have a lot more money than we do, but 103 million is a lot of money to put into small companies. So we are, with that money, we are one of the largest venture capital funds in Europe, and by far the largest in Eastern Europe. We do normally growth financing from a couple of 100,000 to about 15 million. And we ourselves mostly work with companies or start to work with companies that have 1 or 2 or maybe 3 million of revenues. We, in exceptional cases, invest also into some smaller pre-revenue companies. We have now 7 offices in the region, a smallest team of a bit less than 20 people, so it's always like 2 or 3 people in every country, but obviously we work across the borders. We invest in 2 types of companies. So the global challengers, which is our core focus, is really bringing companies from here to Western Europe and to the US, and now more and more to Asia. Some of the companies where we have invested are in the upper right-hand corner, and we also invest sometimes in some local leaders, which are companies that are predominantly in one market and maybe not as innovative, but rather proven business models. In Slovakia, some of you might recognize 2 or 3 names there, but we are now investors in Piano Media, which is this paywall company, having clients in Slovakia, Poland, Slovenia, Germany, France, and expanding now in Western Europe mostly. We were also investors in one of your mobile phone operators, so in Orange Slovakia, which we sold back to Orange, and have previously, some 10-15 years ago, had a few investments also here. We are now putting much more focus into Slovakia because we believe that the time is very good now to start investing more here. We do about 3 to 5 investments every year, so maybe once a quarter, but across the whole region. So it might be maybe 1 or 2 investments in Slovakia every year. Investing money is relatively easy because there seems to be so many companies, so putting money to work is easy. What is the difficult part is actually returning money. We work for institutional investors, and their expectation is that we multiply their money relatively quickly. Normally we work with the companies something like 5 to 7 years, and after that we need to sell them to someone. What I wanted to show that there's actually a multiple possibilities to sell the companies. You can do public IPOs. We have, for example, taken a small company from Hungary called LogMeIn into becoming the world's largest PC remote access business and listed it on NASDAQ. When we started, the company had about €1 million of revenue. When we exited it, it was going to cross about 100 million in revenues, and the market cap today is about $700 million on NASDAQ. Sometimes smaller companies you can of course list on local stock exchanges. We were lucky enough to sell a local company through the Bulgarian stock exchange in Bulgaria. Sistinet is one of the businesses where we have been invested with Roman Staniek, who is obviously in Czech and also in Slovakia quite known as a serial entrepreneur. And we sold the business to Mercury Interactive, which is part of Hewlett-Packard. Sold direct from about an hour away from here in Vienna. We took it to the US, to California, and sold it to Cisco earlier this year. Mall, SK or Mall CZ, we sold to Intel Capital and MCI, two financial investors. And Avangate is a Romanian company that has grown from about $1 million of revenue to about 28 today, is actually being sold today. It was not planned this way. We have been negotiating with a US financial buyer the last 3-4 months to sell the company, and I just got a confirmation around midnight last night that this is going to be sold for almost 100 million ticket today. It's going to be public on next Monday, so don't tell anyone I mentioned this. But the important thing here is that you can take small and medium-sized companies out of Slovakia, build them to become internationally successful companies, and sell them. And the reason why there is a good opportunity in Slovakia today is that this is going to be a growth region, growth country for the next 25-30 years. There's a lot of talented people, good education, and so on. So what I'm trying to tell to people is that let's not complain about the problems. There are always problems. We can't have everything perfect, but let's concentrate on that we actually have a lot of good things happening here, and there is nothing that will hinder us in building good companies. And that's why we believe there's a lot of companies, a lot of talented people. What we can help is bring money and experience and international networks, and then help to fund the expansion, because most of the companies unfortunately need quite a lot of money before it works. So really the main theme and main important is that we need to keep on fueling this positive circle that is happening. You know, there are high-profile success cases, regardless if it's 1 or 2 owners who make the money, regardless if it's investors, regardless if there are 10 people or 100 people in the company. But you have in this country and in the neighboring countries a lot of success stories. Obviously everyone knows about ESET and AVG and Alvi Lavast from Czech Republic and companies here. We are certainly hoping that, for example, Colosseo, which is the new spin-off from Monogram, building stadium entertainment systems, very high-tech, could be one of the next ones to come out of Slovakia. Because high-profile successes are the role models of the younger entrepreneurs who are starting their businesses. There are parallel to sports. When the first people are successful, for the first guys it seems like, I will never make it and I'm the pioneer. But once more people have done it, everybody in the country starts to think it's possible and work harder and smarter. This has happened in many sports around various countries. I don't know the Slovakian sports, but maybe it was the same thing when the first hockey player here went to play at NHL. It was maybe a strangest thing to happen, but then, a couple of dozen players have gone to play in NHL. Maybe today they rather go to play in Moscow because you make more money there than in America. The other thing in the positive circle that is happening, and there are a lot more active venture capital funds investing into Slovakia. There are the regional funds, Our friend Ivan here is putting together the new Noilotsi Ventures Fund with the help of the EU's Jeremy program. That's going to be operational maybe in December, January, we hope. I think you're also looking for new investors still. Okay, again, something I should not mention here, but Ivan might be willing to take some few more investors into his fund. But there's a lot more happening on that side. We also have plenty of serial entrepreneurs who have built one business, sold it, or become successful, or actually failed in the business. It's actually good to fail. Just don't lose too much money while you are failing. But it's not bad to have actually flops, because you only learn truly from big successes and big flops. Everything in the middle is kind of boring, and the learning is very small. So there's a lot of good people, and some of these people are starting their third, fourth, fifth company, or on the other hand, putting some of their money back into other companies. So this is again fueling the positive circle. On the other hand, the governments, EU, a lot of other organizations are doing a lot in educating people what it is to become an entrepreneur. How do you build companies? So there's a lot of good work being done in education and promotion of technology entrepreneurship. There's a lot of new organizations, angel clubs, all types of things. And information is available, of course, in other languages around the web and everywhere. So there's a lot of good stuff happening, and it's only up to us, the investors, the big corporates, the public sector, to help these entrepreneurs to succeed. Because the reality is that most of the big companies today have started small at some point. And if we don't start building a lot of small, medium-sized successful companies today, there will not be large Slovak companies ever. I mean, that's a simple thing. They all start from somewhere, so it is our joint responsibility to help the younger entrepreneurs. And by the way, the younger entrepreneurs today are a lot smarter than we were 20 years ago. So that's what I really hope, is that people continue helping and supporting the entrepreneurs, the technology innovation, and as big companies working together with them to build the next global champions out of Slovakia. So that's really all I wanted to say, and I wish all of us good luck in finding the, how do you call it, the next Slovak Google? Something like this. Thank you.